Welcome in or welcome back. Today we're going to be doing a reading to see which superpower Spirit is going to reveal for you or gift you, and what your name / moniker is and your costume color. So let's start off with clearing out the energy. There we go. Alright. So Spirit called me to draw from the Your Worst Fears deck and the Shamanic Healing deck. The Worst Fears deck came out falling through a hole in a frozen lake. Now, if you've been following along, there's a whole thing about Lady of the Lake, how they drained the lake in my father's community. Lots of weird stuff going on in that community. So I asked Spirit, are you talking about like a literal lake? So I pulled from my hermeneutics. I don't know how to say that. Hermeneutics? This word. Hermeneutics deck. And we got metaphysical, so I think it's talking about like the portal that would lead to Camelot in a frozen lake. There's also something with the lake in hell, which is like the lake of fire or whatever, but then it's also described as being frozen. You could also think of it, because then I asked, what is this about? Romance and love came out and fell on the floor, which means something we don't know. Could also be referring to something to do with this portal, having to do with someone's heart being frozen, like the Lady of the Lake's heart. Alright, past, present, and future came up for shamanic healing. Let's see what that has to say. It's in the reverse. Integrating past, present, and future. We all arrive on this earth with a plan. We all have lessons to learn. In the process of learning these lessons, most of us will encounter experiences that we will label as quote-unquote bad. This labeling and duality we carry with us wherever we go is what we call our so-called quote-unquote baggage. When we let these labels direct our reactions to life and experiences in the present, or even project them into the future, we are working with a lower energy vibration. When you're able to integrate your lessons without labels, then you are free to remain in the present experience and enjoy it for what it truly is. You can then move forward into the future without expectations or agendas, and be much more open to what will be for our highest and best. Let go of labels and judgments surrounding this situation. Okay. And then we got discernment, number 6. Well, first, is there anything you want to say about that, Spirit? Abandoned building. Yeah, there's something about the energy today. It feels like everybody left or something. Person in a wheelchair. There we go again with the fucking wheelchair. Fashion designer. It's Cruella de Vil. I don't know if you've seen the Disney movie, the new one with Cruella de Vil or whatever. People have told me many times I look like Emma Stone, which I don't agree with that either. Because the other day I mentioned how people were telling me that growing up that I look like the chick from Scary Movie. But anyway, there's something going on there. I don't know. Sports car in the reverse. Yeah, God doesn't like sports, right? Fell on the floor. Okay. Oh, this card wanted to... Yeah, stairs in the reverse. Some people can't take the stairs. They need an elevator because they're in a wheelchair. All right. So as spiritual, as spiritual, physical, and energetic beings, we oftentimes blur the lines between our energy, the energy of situation, and the energy of another person. When we take on other people's energy and label it as our own, we start to judge. Excuse me. Oh my God. Okay. This lowers our energetic vibrations. We then get caught up in a seemingly never-ending cycle of feeling quote-unquote bad, labeling, justifying, and appropriating what is not ours to claim. Okay. Sorry, I had to pause for a second. The lesson here, as in the previous card, is to be present, not label or judge, and let the energy/feeling wash through you. Once you do this, notice where in your body you feel the effects of the emotion. Oh, what the heck was that? There's this like, hold on, I'll pause and I have to think about it because I don't remember. Oh, okay, I remember kind of. This is from like an outpatient treatment center that I went to one time for mental health, and I learned a lot of really good stuff from there. And one of the things was about, observing without judgment, but also there's something more to that. I would have to go grab my book. I don't know where it is right now. I'm not doing that. But there's something about making sure you things are actually factual. If you can't check the facts, if you don't have access to the facts, then you need to remain neutral to it. You can't make a sound decision one way or the other if you can't attain the facts. Because there's always so many factors in play, okay? The idea of body jumping has come up a lot lately. So, somebody could say something on the internet and you could be like, oh my God, and want to cancel them or something. But in reality, they got body jumped. There could be somebody holding a gun to their dog's head in the background. You never know. You never know what's going on behind the scenes unless you do know. Okay? So just, make sure you keep an open mind with everything, especially when you're in the spiritual community. Things can get really dicey. Okay. Once you do this, notice where in your body you feel the effects of the emotion. Does your heart open up? Does your belly hurt? Does your throat get tight? Your head can lie to you, but your body never does. Yeah, okay. So that's the whole thing with tapping in your sacral and stuff. So that's a good way to be able to judge a situation. So the other day, something came up where it was I felt I knew I was going to be tested or whatever, and then what happened, I was already expecting to happen, but it didn't affect me. It didn't affect me the way that in the past something like that would have affected me or has affected me. And I think it had to do with me training myself on the art of detachment, first of all, which is observation without judgment, and then tapping into the sacral and how the body feels, how the body is reacting. And my body essentially felt nothing. So it was there was, okay. yeah, the head can lie to you quite a bit. There's so many illusions going on, being casted. It can be very difficult to navigate that. It is easy to become overwhelmed. Make a habit of making your first response to overwhelming energy being, quote unquote, wow, that's interesting, instead of, quote unquote, what's wrong with me? This allows you to objectively discover how and why your body is reacting to the given situation or person. This card is asking you to stop looking outside of yourself for answers to an issue. Instead, sit with it and listen to what your body is telling you. Yeah, I like that. That's actually really good advice. Thank you, Spirit. I needed that message myself. Okay. So, anything you want to say about this, Spirit? Anything else? Pills. Why does this keep coming up? What about pills? Smoke in reverse and travel agent was wrong. Let me see. Where is my... oh, here it is. I wasn't trying to make this like a long reading here, but it's like kind of interesting. I don't really know. You're talking about with pills, Spirit. Oh, let me do this. Hold on. Promises wealth and is the wish card. An arbor of roses, growth of love and happiness in reverse. I don't know, I'm just not really getting it. Chaos. Mayhem, fractals, confusion, informal, no system, physics, chaos theory, rubble, messy, shattered, frenzy, improvise. Yeah, I don't know. The only thing I can think of with pills is like, for me personally, and maybe y'all can relate, I don't know, is, you know, being prescribed pills and, like, I don't know, this came up kind of recently where, like, somebody that I used to know who is, I guess, in a mentor kind of position, she'd always tell me, make sure you take your medicine, Tara. But then, like, you know, everybody else would basically complain that I talked too much when I was on it because I have, like, ADD really bad. So I was taking ADD medication. And then I recently threw away my ADD medication, and then it magically reappeared in my house, which is very bizarre. And then there's that song with Led Zeppelin. I've been getting messages through songs. And when I was, like, deep in the trenches of I'll call it a spiritual battle. What the fuck song is it? It's the one... I can't remember the fucking song. It's talks about snow. There's the word snow in it. And, oh, like something about, the feet that trudge through the snow. I wish I had... Oh, wait. I can get something. Hold on. Alright, so it's the song No Quarter by Led Zeppelin, Close the door, put out the light. You know they won't be home tonight. The snow falls hard, and don't you know the winds of Thor are blowing cold. They're wearing steel that's bright and true. That made me think of Superman. Men of Steel or whatever. They carry news that must get through. And also I was told, so like someone I follow was talking about superheroes, which I'm really into superheroes, and they were saying if they could pick a superhero, they'd be Superman. And it's funny because this person, when I spun the globe a while back and asked, like, I don't remember my exact words I asked, but it was basically something like, what do I need? What am I missing here? What do I need to help solve this kind of like end of the world issue going on? And I just heard like a really weird siren outside. Oh, it almost sounds like wind. It's like a mixture of wind and a siren put together. Anyway, China came up or something. I think it was like China. And then it just reminded me of that person. And then all of a sudden they popped up on my feed. And I had unsubscribed to them a while back because they were talking shit about the Addams Family. And also I had like they keep mentioning the Addams Family and saying how they're creepy and they're kooky, you know. And I love the Addams Family, but I don't know, like, I don't know. Anyway, but then also I had like a really weird dream where I was like brought to the 5D, which I had to take a pill, and then I was put in this like machine, and then they transferred my consciousness into the 5D, and then I went into this guy's body. And then we're in like an office kind of building, and then that reader was there, and he had whoever's body I went into, which I think was, he referred to whoever's body I was in as number 5, which I've correlated as my brother Adam, which is interesting because it looks like my brother Adam, like on Umbrella Academy. And there's also something there with like the ants, because like the ants like take up like the whole world, and my brother was always called like Adam Ant by my mom. And there's also something there with like rabbits, because my mom wrote like a story for my brother about like something about him being a rabbit or something. I don't know. Anyway, and there's something there too with like time traveling and all of that. I really don't know. But anyway, so he had a gun and he had everybody hostage in this office, and I remember I was like in the corner like trying to hide under like pillows or something. I was like really scared. And then he came over and like shoved a gun in my face, and he was talking like aggressively to everybody, and then he came over to me, he's like, yeah, you're not gonna say shit, are you, number 5? And then I went to the park the next day with my kids at Memory Park, and in the woods nearby the park I heard gunshots go off, and then I saw this like black ninja looking figure leave the woods, and I was like, what the fuck is this? So, you know, I don't know. I never really got, like, bad vibes from this person. I thought they were cool, but then that happened and it freaked me out. And I was just like, I don't know. I don't know what this is. Oh, and also, so that thing with the 5D, I tried posting about that on my IG, but, like, part of it got cut off, and I was too lazy to fix it. But I just wanted to say that one of the things about that was that when you come back, apparently it can make your real body get really sick, and you can get cancer unless they give you like a antidote or something, but you have to like pay for it or some shit, I guess, unless you work for them, like unless you're like one of the higher ups or something. I don't know. But there was also something about whoever's body I went into there. I don't know. This part's like really fuzzy and I don't really know, but there was something about like people being really poor in the upper dimensions or something. It's as if like the upper dimensions is even worse than here. And they have to come down here to play these kind of like Hunger Games to be able to feed their family in the upper dimensions. Which is really fucked up. I don't know. There's something like going on there. So then the main thing I got from all that was like maybe this person was like trying to actually like stop these evil motherfuckers. I really don't know. Because then there's also this thing where like if you watch the Suicide Squad movies, which I'm pretty sure that's about me, like the main character. I don't give a fuck what anybody says. I don't have an ego problem and like fuck you, okay? Like, they make movies about real people all the time. And I'm not saying everything in those fucking movies is about me. Like, that's not my life, like, all of it. But a lot of it is very fucking similar and how I act and stuff like that. So anyway, there's something there with, like, how they made Harley Quinn, like, kill... because it's called the Suicide Squad. They made her like kill herself, because then I've correlated through my readings and stuff Dr. Moon and the Star being related to Harley Quinn, and then they made her kill herself. And then there's the part where the Joker says like, would you live for me? And then she's like, yeah. And he's like, well, that's too easy. Or I'm sorry, he said, will you die for me? And she said, yeah. And he said, that's too easy. Will you live for me? Because this world fucking sucks and it's really hard to survive, okay? But anyway, so there's a theme there going on with trickery and trying to portray things in the opposite way of what they actually are. So I got freaked out and I thought like this person was the villain, but maybe they were actually the hero in the situation. I don't really know, but I'm just saying like that's something that came up. All right, back to this song. So okay, they're wearing steel. They carry news that must get through. They choose the path where no one goes. And again, with no one, that's from Game of Thrones. Now, no one is my favorite character, the little girl. I haven't seen it in a while. I don't remember her name. She's my favorite character. I don't remember her name. But the whole thing with the no one thing, I was told like no one really dies. So the thing with no one is a lot of people have figured out how to shapeshift and they wear masks and all this stuff, and like my thing is, I think God is saying, like, no one actually is really gonna die this time. Because I've always been told this thing, like, no one really dies. And there's, like, two meanings. Sometimes words have two meanings, right? So, like, there's this one side of it where, like, there's reincarnation and all of that. And I've talked about this a million times before, so I'm not gonna get all into that. The recycling and the shredder and all of that. But then there's this whole thing with no one, the faceless one or whatever, or the many-faced one, and how I've always, like, really disliked shapeshifters, like, in shows and stuff like that. They always, like, scare me kind of, like, the most, because, like, in the show Supernatural's coming up for me in my memory. Like, there's an episode or a couple episodes where there's shapeshifters, and it just sucks. They have this really unfair advantage, and it's like, how does anyone navigate that? How do you know who's really who? And then we, like with the body snatchers things, people astro project and they go inside of other people's bodies and puppet them. Like, it's not fair. Like, the game is rigged because there's no knowledge base for people. Like, no one's ever told me how to navigate that, how to be able to detect if someone is a body snatch. I mean, you could kind of tell, and then also I think this card was trying to help with that, with the discernment. So, like, you could kind of tell, like, I could tell when people are corrupted and stuff, but then it's like, I don't really know what's going on, and it's hard. Like, there should be some type of way. I know, like, Rion from Unite the Collective was saying when he went up into the upper dimensions, they showed him some device where they were able to scan people and detect their energetic signature. So no matter what they looked like, they could trace their energetic signature. But it's not fair. Nobody else has that, you know? But I'm not omniscient, so, like, I can't really speak on these things on that level of what's really fair. But I'm just saying from this human perspective, like, it's something that I feel like needs to be addressed. All right, anyway, so back to this. They choose the path where no one goes. They hold no quarter. They hold no quarter. Walking side by side with death. The devil mocks their every step. I don't know if I'm going to get into all that either right now. Yeah, Spirit's telling me not to. I could say a lot about those two lines, but I'm not going to right now. Alright. The snow drives back the foot that's slow. This is the part I was talking about. The dogs of doom are howling more. So the other day when I was going through, like, this battle or whatever, right? So I've been told, like, I have some connection to Neptune, and something about when I consume things, the sharks, it goes into the sharks' bodies. So that could be with, like, the pills, because when I was on that, that's kind of how I figured that out. And I was making a smoothie, and I was putting stuff in the smoothie, a fruit smoothie, and I put in, what is it called? Flax golden seal. It's like a purple flower, and then there's a blue flower one. My idea behind it was, like, to seal my auric body, my auric fields. And then I got a notification on my watch saying, like, what are you feeding your sharks? What are you feeding the sharks right now? And then this gnat appeared, and it was like, when I was about to put in the purple one, the gnat got mad and was, like, coming at me, and I was like, okay, maybe I shouldn't put the purple one in. So I didn't until after I was done doing everything else I was doing. Then I added the purple to finish it, because you're supposed to do the seal at the end. And then, okay, and then so also with the snow thing, I wrote a poem a while ago when I was in, like, high school. And I was also a Mormon at this time, and I had submitted it to the newsletter, but I don't have the poem anymore. I wish I did, because it was pretty cool. But it was basically like the star card in the tarot. I was talking something about this woman who was crying endlessly and creating this stream of tears or whatever. And then there was snow all around her, and the snow was supposed to represent, like, cocaine or, like, numbing by drugs. And something about the jokers, the tricksters. And I was thinking about these people I was friends with when I was a kid that used to, like, bully me or not a kid, teenager, that used to bully me a lot and beat me up and stuff. And everybody was drug addicts and stuff. And they would just feed me, like, plates upon plates of drugs. Like, I remember one time this chick was saying, like, she sat next to me and she's like, Tara, why everybody just literally comes up to you with, like, platters of drugs? Like, what is this? I'm like, I don't know. It was pretty wild. Anyway, and then at the end of the poem, it was talking about how, like, God whispering into the girl's ear, and something about, like, her hearing the truth, and, like, she stopped crying, and it's funny, because you know how, like, Ozzy Osbourne died recently, and then, the morning before I found out he passed away, I heard the song No More Tears playing in my head. And people have been saying that a lot. Like, stop crying. No more tears. Stop crying. And then they've been telling me also, like, they eat your tears or some shit like that. I don't know. But then my mom told me growing up, like, one of the very few things my mom ever said to me, because she didn't really talk a lot, at least not to me, but she was a pretty quiet person. She would laugh a lot. She would sit there and, like, laugh to herself, which I kind of started doing recently, because I've been, like, thinking about a lot of funny stuff, and my kids are like, what are you laughing about? I'm like, I just was thinking about something funny, so now I kind of understand it more. But anyway, she told me one time, like, don't ever let anybody tell you not to cry, or that you can't cry. And then the only other thing I remember was somebody with crying was my kid's father telling me that I'm really ugly when I cry. Oh, and there's one other thing too, is I remember sitting on the edge of my bed, and, like, I was in kind of like a state of despair, but I was also numb at the same time. And it's like I wouldn't let myself cry. Like, I couldn't cry, even though from an objective point of view, I definitely, needed to, or, like, it was warranted, right? Because the situation was so fucked up. And I saw, like, water drops or teardrops fall a few feet away from me, as if somebody else was crying for me. And that was like, whoa. So anyway, that's the whole thing with, like, crying and the snow thing. So with that whole snow thing, when I was reading this song, I was, like, also being shown something about how somebody was saying something about how angels don't sleep, and the gray aliens siphon your energy while you're sleeping, and, like, you gotta stay awake, and, like, all this other shit. So it's like they're trying to get me to take my medication. But then, one of the main things is, like, being able to be sober has been, like, being able to get through all of this without crutches like that. And but then they told me, like, you have a doctor's note, you can take it, it's fine, or whatever. So I was confused with this line, because it says, the devil mocks their every step. The snow drives back the foot that's slow. The snow drives back the foot that's slow. You know how words have two meanings? This was confusing me, because I was like, the snow, if you think of it as, like, cocaine, it drives back the foot that's slow. The foot could also be, like, Archangel Michael's foot on the devil's head, or the snake's head, or whatever. Also just a foot trying to get to where they need to go, right? Completing the mission or the journey. And I was like, it drives back the foot that's slow. So it makes the foot even slower, or it drives it back to where it needs to go. It drives back the foot that's going too slow. It makes it go faster. Also, when I was making the smoothie, I could hear dogs, like, howling above me. So that was weird. Like, very kind of distant. So that was, like, kind of trippy. Anyway, I didn't take the pills. I didn't take it because I'm, like, that didn't feel right to me, because I was thinking about the poem that I wrote when I was in high school. But I'd love to hear people's thoughts on this all, but nobody ever comments or anything, so The only comment I've ever gotten was somebody saying some weird shit about like meeting me at a hospital, and I was like, I don't even know who you are or what you're talking about. And then I looked up the hospital, and it was like in Maine or something, or like Maryland, or somewhere really far from me. And that reminded me of the whole thing where I had a dream where I woke up from a coma or something in a hospital, and then like with the redheaded guy who I thought was Deadeye. I don't know. And then it was like they told me to run, I guess, and I've been running ever since. And I ran out the building, and then it like collapsed. I ran into the elevator, and then the building started crumbling. And then I tried grabbing people. I saved a couple people. And then I was getting chased outside by, like, FBI agents or some shit. And pretty much every dream I ever have, I'm, like, running away from people and, like, trying to save little kids or something. And, like, I don't know. So anyway, the Dogs of Doom are howling more. They carry news that must get through to build a dream for me and you. They choose the path where no one goes. They hold no cord. And they also said, like, I am no one. Because it... Also, with the whole no one thing, I always thought of no one being as, like... having no identity. Releasing that ego. Releasing that... Like, your identity is not your name. Your identity is not your face. Your identity is not any of that. It's who you are. It's the choices you make. It's the love you have in your heart or lack thereof, right? So that was always, like, what I thought of as no one, okay? But as far as a literal shapeshifter, like, that type of stuff, that really, like, I don't like that. I mean, it can obviously prove useful for people that need to hide their identity, for protection or whatever. But at the end of the day, see, I'm not omniscient. Like I said, I can't really speak on that. That's like one of those things that's so layered. It would take like there would need to be like a what is it called? Not group. I'm thinking groupthink. Think tank. There would need to be a think tank held about that. Okay. Like 15 of them. All right. Let's move on to this. Okay, I gotta finish this. All right. So now I need you to pick a number between 1 through 5. So pause the video if you need to. Pick a number. I'll see you at your pile. All right. Number 1. You got... You got 90. The Volt Savant. Oh, you know what? I forgot to talk about this. The Smoke in Reverse and Travel Agent was wrong because Spirit told me I need to talk about that. So yesterday I put 2 figures that represent like the divine feminine and the divine masculine on the throne, quote unquote, on top of the Ace of Cups. And well, I didn't put them on top of the Ace of Cups initially, but literally as soon as I did that, all of a sudden someone shows up at my house, which, again, with the whole body snatchers thing in mind, I don't know who it really was, but I felt really, really sick. I felt scared. I felt traumatized, and I locked myself in my room, and I went and locked myself in my closet, and just tried to ground myself, and, like, I could feel all these energies flowing through me and, like, transmuting, so, like, it was helping. And then I, watched a couple, like, little tarot reader videos that helped me which I think maybe this is like support and wisdom came up from the angels today. So thank you for anybody who's helped me through all of this crap. But anyway, so I felt compelled to smudge the earth because they have like this little globe, and I felt like the earth needed a good smudging, so I was doing that, and then I inhaled some of it to try to smudge my body. And then as soon as I put those two things on the throne, that person showed up like that. And the last time I had a similar experience, like a couple weeks ago, where I went to like spiritual court, but like it was held in the classroom, because I guess they do that like in everyday circumstances. They can hold spiritual court in everyday circumstances. And it was wild, like the whole way there. It was like almost like I was like this really famous person, like all these people were following me and like in my car. And I guess the same thing happened to Intuitive Goddess 333 was talking about it. And then when I got out of there, somebody was playing, like there was these people in the baseball field or whatever near the park, like it's like in the parking lot area, and they were blasting the song "You're the Only Girl in the World" or whatever. It was really cool. I was like, this is so cool. What is this? Like, but anyway, but that was the other time where I felt like this rush of like epic energy coming in, and like things were really gonna shift and change, and I was like, oh wow, this is cool. And I went home and I was listening to music, and then all of a sudden this same person shows up again, like the body snatcher thing. I don't know like who it really was, but I was like, why do you keep popping up here like this? You know, like it was just, it's just ridiculous. It's like the Matrix trying to ruin your moment or some shit, because it's like that's like the last person I'd want to see in that moment. Like literally the last fucking person I'd want to see in that moment. After all the shit they put me through and stuff, like I've forgiven them, or like I don't know if I really believe in forgiveness like that. I feel like you need to forgive yourself at the end of the day. But like I don't hold resentment in my heart for them, but like I just don't really trust them, and they're not on the same page as me. They're holding me back, energetically and karmically, because they help me in a lot of ways, if that was the person who they appeared to be, so to speak. But like they help me as far as like in the material world with like financial stuff sometimes if I really need help, because I get literally no support from anybody. And so, and then being a single parent, like I have no help with that either, and they're the only person that kind of like helps me, give me a little break sometimes. But it's like the cons kind of outweigh the benefits, because they're spiritually tainting everybody with their negativity and their ill-begotten practices and influences of how to treat women and how to treat your temple, your body's temple. And I've tried talking to this person about this stuff several times, and they just laugh at me and stuff. So yeah, it's like a smack in the face. Like you're feeling this like really good vibe. You're riding this really cool wave. You're a surfer and you're riding this really great wave, and then all of a sudden, the lifeguard rides up to you, or I don't want to call the lifeguard. It's like all of a sudden a hand comes down and just smashes your wave. Like that's what it is. So anyway, I posted about that in my YT post, and I asked AI about it. I rolled the Astro Dice. I asked AI about it, and it was saying how that is something that typically does happen. In the spiritual community, like when you're having a awakening or a revelation or like a moment, this other opposing energy will come in either for a last hurrah or I don't even know. And then, you know, a lot of people are like, you need to face it, you need to face this and that. And it's like, I have faced it several times and it doesn't do shit. So this time I fucking refused it. I put up my boundaries and I hid away. And I was like, I'm not accepting this energy. So anyway, the smoke in reverse, I'm not really sure, because that came up as well, because I asked after this happened, I was like, what the fuck is what it was that? And smoke in reverse came up, and I was like, maybe it was something about the smudging, because the Leo King one time was talking about how, like, if you smudge too much, it can get rid of the good spirits too. So maybe there's something to that. And then travel agent was wrong. Maybe somebody told this person to come to my house and they didn't understand, or something like that. I don't know. I mean, like, you know, I have mad love for that person. If that's who that really was, it's my fucking father, right? But trucker in reverse. So my dad goes by the Truck because it's his name spelled backwards. Me and one of my ex-friends growing up came up with that nickname for him. And he drives a truck. So maybe it wasn't him. It was somebody pretending to be him. Teenager. Yeah. I don't know, guys. Anyway, okay. That's what I gotta say about that. Let's go back to this. What was it? 90? Number 90? So, wait. Sound wave manipulation. Where is it? Alright, Volt, Savant, Electric Blue, Silver, and Black is your colors. Alright, and then your powers are, you got 11 powers. Jeez. So, your powers are... number 3, Electrokinesis. 36. Chameleon Camouflage. 7. Weather Manipulation. Hydrokinesis. Light Manipulation. Blood Memory, Ancestral Recall through Lineage. Terrakinesis, which is earth shaping. 37. Somebody's causing a disruption right now. Wing Manifestation. Shadow Manipulation. Electrokinesis. Oh, wait, I already said that. Cryokinesis. I have to roll again because I already said electrokinesis. Wait. 2, 3, 4, 5. 2, 3, 6, no, 7, no, 2. Okay, come on. I really did those. 9. Oh my god. Alright, you're pissing me off now, Spirit. Alright, so you also got gravity control. And that's it. Okay. So that's your powers. Number 1. For those of you that chose number 1, congratulations. And yeah. Alright, so for number 2, you got 64. Let's see. The Covenant Warden. Oh, interesting. You should look up Warden on Minecraft. It's kind of scary. Navy, gold, and white is your colors. The Covenant Warden. I don't know if you can see that. Number 64. Alright. Alright, so you got 2 powers. 2 and 4. Cryokinesis and aerokinesis. Ice shaping and wind shaping. Alright, so that's your powers for those of you that chose number 2. And congratulations, and I'll see you on the next one. Okay, number 3. You got 77. Let's see. Perfect aim. Oh, whoops. That's a power. Sorry. Slipstream. Your name is Slipstream. Neon blue, white, and black is your colors. Alright, and your powers is... You have 5. You got, number 1, pyrokinesis. Second power is hydrokinesis. Third power is blood memory, ancestral recall through lineage. Next one's precognition. And last but not least is Hexmender, purple, black, neon green. All right, so that's your reading, and your big reveal, number 3. Congratulations. All right, and let's move on to number 4. So number 4, your name, your moniker is number 65, and you got Halo Breaker, white, black, and neon yellow. Halo Breaker. And you got 6 powers. So you got pyrokinesis, bloodline, oh wait, oops. Blood memory, ancestral recall through lineage, terrakinesis, light manipulation, dream walking, and shadow manipulation as well. All right, group number 4, that is your big reveal. Congratulations. All right, number 5, you got 89. The Neon Architect, and your colors are hot pink, black, and white. You got 5 powers. First power, number 62. Demon Negotiation. Second power, Blood Memory, Ancestral Recall through Lineage. Third power, Spatial Folding. Fourth power, Aerokinesis, Wind Shaping. And fifth power is Cryokinesis. Alright, number 5, group number 5. That was your big reveal. Congratulations. And yeah, so that's the reading for today, for right now, guys. I might do a couple more for today. I'm not sure yet. We'll see how it goes. Yeah, feel free to leave a comment down below. I really would love to hear your thoughts, if anybody actually does see this video. Please feel free to like, share, subscribe, follow, all the things. I greatly appreciate it. And I'll catch you in the next one.